Wild story on Labor Day weekend. Man out washing his car gets a drive-by robbery. Yes, they hit they hit this poor dude's out washing his car in his driveway. Dudes pull up at gunpoint and rob him. It's an absolutely fascinating story. Here it is from ABC 7.
Brazen armed robbery in the driveway of a Woodland Hills home. Well, it was all caught on camera.
Yeah, this happened on Labor Day. Two people were watching a car. A Honda Accord passed by them on the street and then doubled back, parking near the home. Well, three people got out of the car. Two of them were armed. They threatened two victims, taking at least a watch from one of them before fleeing the scene. According to the homeowner, the victims were hired to wash his car and had just started their own business.
It was a bit traumatizing for all of us.
A bit traumatizing. Holy cow. You can't even hit the dudes are trying to make a living, detailing a car, get robbed. Now you can't even stand out in front of your house in suburban Southern California without the threat of getting robbed. Holy cow, what is this area coming to? We got to get a handle on this. Lock, stock, as they say, and barrel. This is a fascinating story. The old Olivedale Nudie Ranch. They're down here. Well, it used to be in Ritchie Canyon. So he said they moved it to Redlands. I don't know. It used to be down in Ritchie Canyon. Nudist resort residents say they're being forced to wear clothes or forced out. Then what the hell is it good a nudie ranch for? Here's another one. Here's the KTLA 5 report. Here we go.
Former residents of a SoCal nudist resort are suing the new owners for trying to make them put on their clothes. The lawsuit also claims they aren't maintaining the property and trying to force them out. Many tenants at the Olivedale Ranch in Colton are elderly, disabled, veterans, and others have nowhere else to go.
Now the tenants are fighting back to keep their homes. Casey Montoya has this.
Keep their homes and their clothes off. Again, why would you have a nudie ranch? Yeah, it's down there in Ritchie Canyon. Been there ever since. I've been on this planet for parts of 7 decades in this inland empire. I drove through Ritchie Canyon many times. You see the old Olivedale Ranch. It's been there, I don't know how long, probably at least 60 plus years. And now you can't be nude at a nudist camp. What the hell is this country coming to? Man, is everything getting extremely fouled up. Catalytic converter thieves were caught. The cops were chasing them, and they did get them in custody. Here's ABC 7 report.
On Limit 5, sirens blare through the valley as police chase after two suspected catalytic converter thieves. This was the scene over the 101 freeway last night during that chase. Police say they first spotted the suspects in Tarzana. We're told the suspects took off running at the end of that chase. Two people
took off. Well, hey, the cops are finally getting their man, as they say, up to fruition. We need them to get the guys that are just doing the drive-by robberies and shootings. While you're at it, scoop up the vagrants as you're cruising by. Maybe we'll get Southern California, Central California, Northern California back to the once golden state it was. This is what we voted for. Pete Hegseth was on, gave the update. They blew a boat out of the water with a bunch of Tren de la Llagra gang members smuggling drugs. So we're under the control of the cartels, and they're basically, Tren de la Llagra is under the control. It is a Venezuelan, I believe, gang. It's under the control of the Chinese frickin' Communist Party. Wake the hell up. This is what we voted for to clean this crap up. Trump, Hegseth, Tom Homan, the whole crew, get after it. It's what we voted for. It's what we expect. Nothing more, nothing less. The school walkout down at Temecula Junior High, the day middle junior high. I just can't get on that middle school thing. I don't know. I guess I'm old school. This is a press enterprise. Demonstrations support students who say they have to share locker room space with trans classmates. I mean, holy freaking cow. Can we get to more reality of what's going on? Here's a short video, just 13 seconds, of the students out at Day Junior High, there in Temecula, saying, hey, you know what? We're done with this boys and our girls' locker rooms and our sports and everything else. So look at all the girls who were out there in Temecula on that versus the press enterprise showing a picture of the Day Junior High School with the pictures and the trannies out there doing the chalk marks on the sidewalk. Get with it, press enterprise. We're not putting up with this stuff anymore. We get more deeper into this. Secretary of Education, hopefully that is eliminated. Linda McMahon's weighing in on this, and more cancellations of girls' volleyball games here in the Inland Empire. This idiotic madness has got to stop. California, Washington, and Oregon governors form a health alliance in rebuke of Trump administration. Yeah, they want to keep the same effed up system that's given us less care, 6 months, a year, and hopefully you'll die. And then if you're not, we'll give you the COVID, the clot shot to kill you off quicker. Failure of government health care. We need to get rid of it. Get back to a market-based system and insurance for catastrophic instances when we all got health care simply, efficiently, and effectively for longer lives. You notice how the life expectancy is turning around. Since 10 years of Obama, it could continue to decline. Almost 80 years old. Now it's backing up. Wake the heck up. California bill would require parents to be notified when when the Iceman is a coming. CBC 7.
Immigration raids.
California lawmakers are considering a bill that would require ICE and other agencies to send out notifications before going onto campus. And for more, we go to Inland Empire reporter Leticia Juarez.
We'll hit more on this, a little bit on. Oh, I can hear the sympathy cries coming. If you're in this country legally and lawfully, you have nothing to fear. Update on the Baby Haro murder case. Poor Emmanuel Haro, which is assumed to be dead, murdered from Cabazon. And Press Enterprise did put an article of mostly some of the social media sites got it right. Most of it was misinformation. And that's why you should choose your sources carefully And as I say, check out everything I say. And if there's something I say that's incorrect, inaccurate, I'll correct it. But I can almost bet you on this, on my show, on my public dissertations at the counties, the cities, the school boards, I'm about 111% accurate. So you should choose your news sources wisely. Too much of this stuff gets out on the net and it's not accurate and it hurts everybody. As the district attorney and the sheriff said, you're not helping the situation any at all when you're doing this. Oh, we'll get to this one a little bit more later on. Newsom. Oh, as the next governor of California, I'm going to improve housing affordability. No, and the homeless situation. If you don't do that, that governor's be a failure. 7 years later, Gavin Newsom is a complete failure. Vagrancy has risen 50%, and housing is at record highs. Record highs. By his own words, if he didn't fix it from 18, after he had 14 years of Prop 63 and others and $27 billion, and it was supposed to fix it by 2009, double that time, 9 years later, it wasn't fixed. He becomes governor and says it will be a failure doing that. By his own words, he's a complete and utter failure. And you want him to run your health care? Or you think he's going to solve the crime problem? Look at Oakland. Oh, we went and cleaned that up. As soon as, look at the disaster it is back again. Yeah, they cleaned it up because ping pong from China was coming, like the city of San Francisco. As soon as that was done, you're out. Here's the great Donald J. Trump, the president of Poland, who pulled in a visit. But he got a question about this crime deal. And are you going to Chicago?
Support of some of these politicians, but I'll tell you who is supporting us, the people of Chicago. And I sort of want them to let it be known they have incompetent people. A guy like Gavin Newsom, he's the governor of a state that if we didn't go into Los Angeles with our soldiers, with our National Guard, you wouldn't even be having the Olympics there. They were going to take it. And remember this.
There's a great Donald J. Trump. We'll have more on that press conference. And again, Trump's just pointing out Gavin Newsom's own words, he's a complete and utter failure. We'll get to the transparency conference of the Epstein files, for crying out loud. Gloria Allred's involved. Jeez. Pick up on this much more, the local and state and USA and international news as we go on for the rest of the hour. 1000%. Maybe we're at that 50% point. We're getting 50% of the positive, like Trump blowing the Tren de la Agra and Pete Hegseth and the great military members, blowing Tren de la Agra boat of drug dealers and drug smugglers under the control of the Chinese Communist Party out of the water. Trump broke that story at the press conference he had with the president of Poland, who came over, who's absolutely 111% behind the United States and Donald J. But despite the girls are walking out down at Day Junior High down in Temecula saying, we're done with this. Not putting up with boys and girls' locker rooms. No, we need to work on this volleyball sports thing. I think volleyball is the perfect one. Line the boys up. Don't forfeit the games. We had another one forfeit as we had in the intro. Don't forfeit the games. Brent Lee, down the president of the school board at Riverside Unified. Well, we got to look at coming up with a solution. Here it is. Poly High volleyball team, A.B. Miller, whatever. Just line the boys up. Say, yeah, we're all identifying as girls today. Baby Hernandez and your mom, come on, let's go. Make sure you sign a waiver because if your kid gets killed, which can happen, a volleyball projectile hit by a boy, especially hitting a girl, can kill her. So if you want to sign the waiver off, then let's get after it. It's sometimes, again, we're making progress. I understand it takes a little time for people to acclimate, wrap their heads around. Yeah, we're going to get after it. But this whole debate that's been going on, I want to roll the chart up. As you see, 7.2% of U.S. adults identify as LGBT, whatever alphabet soup. But you see, it's mainly millennials and Gen Zers that are, look at the percentage. They're 5-6%. Now they're almost 20, 3 times higher in 10 years. And well, this is really 8 years. This goes from 2014 to 22. It's probably over that. It might even be 4 times. Look at the percentage because Gen Zers weren't even in the first ones. But you can see almost doubling a rate of millennials from about 6% to 12% in 8 years. It's because of this rhetoric. As Keith Nelson said down at RUSD, this is a mental condition, and in most cases, it will reverse itself. Yeah, there's going to be a few, and whatever we want to determine the age of consent, 18 or whatever. If you as an adult, and you're a consenting adult, and we've run that, and you want to pay for it, I don't care what you chop off your left arm if you feel like it. Chop off your Johnson, chop off your breast, shave your head, take the hormones, whatever trips your trigger. But you're paying for it out of your pocket. You're not coming to the government or this and to that. This whole thing in the schools has got to stop. And this whole shouting everybody down, or you're a homophobe, or you're this. Blame it all on the straight white male. There's the Neanderthals dragging women to the bedroom and all that stuff. Complete idiots, stupid, bigots, racist. And there is a lot of credence to those who shout the loudest, get their way. But look at look at the boomers, look at the Xers, look at the greatest generation. It's all 2% or about that, 2.5%. It's been that way for 10 years. Probably was that way back 100 years if you would have had the charts. It has not moved. It shows you the influence they have had on the younger generations to shape a narrative, to get them to do something they normally wouldn't do. What changed in human nature that all of a sudden precipitated this? In biology, in the science, in our makeup, in our DNA, zero. This has all been pushed, as I said, to control you. The charts don't lie. Because like they said, the why in this from Xers to baby boomers to greatest generation, why in the 8 years did their percentage not even change? It still stayed the steady 2.5% that identify as the alphabet soup. Plenty of warriors in this. Jennifer Say, Sophia Lowry, Sonia Shaw, Claudia Ramirez, Keith Nelson, the great Maria Carrillo. Man, that lady can tell it like it is. And
30 seconds, 30
now
seconds.
you're seeing it in the schools. We'll get into more of this as we go on in the hour or in the rest of the half hour when we join the Mighty Met KMMET. Mighty Met 1490 AM. We'll pick up on more of this, but this is not only is a local story, from the local to the state to the national. This is 1 or 1A in what should be on people's radar.
All right, here comes the disclaimer and intro.
Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday live at 5:30 on the Mighty Met 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire in the aforementioned AM band. Join our vast video audience in the Evil Epi Network, Rumble, X, YouTube, and the Roy Bleckert channel. Check us out, subscribe, type in iNewsWire on that. And you should, those of you joining us on the Mighty Met. And Susan Shelley had another engagement, so she won't be on as her usually Wednesday spot. I know a lot of you tune in to hear her insights and review her daily columns, which you can catch all that the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association and or Press Enterprise, San Bernardino Sun, Inland Daily Bulletin, Redlands Daily Facts, and all that good stuff to catch up on your daily or weekly or whenever dose of Susan Shelley. First story out of the gate. Labor Day weekend in Southern California. Dude hires a couple dudes to detail his car. Get a drive-by robbery. Two dudes roll out of a car, rob the guys that are trying to make a living washing the dude's car. Now you can't even go outside. You know, whatever, random drive-by shooting or something. Well, you're sitting in your house or something and a stray bullet comes in. Now, that could have been the dude that owned the house. Or that could be you out there doing your lawn work. Or they stole their watch, everything. What if you and the missus are all dressed up, going to go out for dinner on date night or whatever, have all your fancy jewelry on, diamond rings. Now you're going to be a target in your own driveway. The old Olive Del Nudie Ranch down there in Ritchie Canyon, between Mobile and Purdue, is under fire. The new owners are saying they're kicking the nudists out of the nudist colony. We completely lost our minds. Oh, you're nude in a nudist colony? Get out! It's not allowed. Some of the bizarre stuff. Check that story out. Pursued on a catalytic converter thieves. Cops did catch him. Cops are star, just like they are in D.C., and we'll get to that. From D.C. to SoCal and everywhere in between. You know, you let the cops do their job, and what? Crime goes down. They'll catch the criminals. Tell them to go home and do paperwork, or the Border Patrol to process the illegals coming in, and you have chaos and unsafety, and dudes thinking they could just drive down the street. Oh, that watch Jesse has on looks pretty. Is that a Rolex? Let's pull out the ACP 45 and take it from him. That's what's coming if you keep sticking your head in the sand. I want to get back to the whole day junior high down in Temecula where the junior high students finally had enough. Said, we're walking out, no more boys in the girls' locker rooms, bathrooms, sports, all this other, we're done. Press Enterprise on their photo, on their lead photo, oh, they just have a picture of the school. When it looks like 100 or more girls were outside protesting the school, saying we're done with this. This is a failure of the adults, from the school board to the superintendent to the parents. And it's been contentious down there. The Tutti Fruttis tried getting the school board members out. They actually recalled Joe Komrosky. He got back in on the recall, even in Newsom's back convoluted system, the Moreno Valley Horse Pool rule, and go look that up in 1986, I believe, which they wiped out. Like David Horspool, got recalled. He never even had to sit out of office and was reinstated before, because he won the next election. Well, Komrosky had to sit out, but he won the re-election back, and they got 4 of the 5 spots. But it's a failure of the board. It's a failure of all these school boards, like Riverside. We were down there, almost a week ago, last Thursday. And Brent Lee says, well, maybe we do have a problem we got to look at. I mean, Amanda Vickers luckily got on the school board. Or let's say, nobody expected that. Over ACLU Channing Beeman. They thought they were going to have a 5-0 lock on everything. Well, that got upset their apple cart a little bit. But you cannot have this stupidity going on anymore. The lack of common decency. Here we go again. And we'll run it up there in the corner. There's all the girls that were out there protesting. They were on each corner. The junior high students at Day Junior High. They were on each corner of that. There you see some more on the other side, back and forth. Some of the boys, which I wish there was more. But this is this emasculation. We did the chart. What was it, 8 years ago, or in 10 years ago? From 14 to 22. Gen Zers and millennials, 3 times more, identify as LGBTQ or whatever alphabet soup. Millennials almost twice as much, from 6 to 12. Wow. Gen Xers, baby boomers, and the greatest generation, all, here's the chart, all stayed about 2.5%. And that's probably been that since time in recorded history. Like this, you see one male adult, a few boys, mostly the girls. Every person in that school should have been walking out. And every person in Temecula should be down at that school board saying this stuff is not going to happen. I don't care. Those tutti fruities can sit there and have it. You are not going to deny science, what we know, biology, and everything else. Now we can have, I think Komrosky was in the picture there, school board member. But this idiocracy is going to end, or you're going to have a whole generation of mental case, can't handle the pressure, anxiety, we can't do this sort of world. We don't build enough toughness. As you saw, the greatest generation fought World War II, came out of the Depression, fought World War II. To the baby boomers to Xers. You had some toughness in those generations. They weren't coddled. You got to the Xers, or the millennials with the helicopter parents, which were the baby boomers that started going flaky, and the Xers, the flaky ones, and the educated. Mainly came out of the universities. Our universities in the United States used to be the top scholarly schools, whether it was engineering, medical, every facet of them was based on something: business administration, lawyers. We had the top schools. Now you get degrees in Mongolian basket weaving. A doctorate doesn't mean crap. From that down to a high school to graduating from the 6th grade, let's put that way. Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, has the whole deal up there from the latest cancellation. Another school year, another young girl sports season ruined by California's radical gender identity politics. At Gavin Newsom, stand up for girls and follow federal law. Well, Gavin Newsom is not going to do that. Well, so far he hasn't, and his history has shown. Even when Charlie Kirk cornered him on it, he said, well, this is stupid. California doing stupid on steroids. You could take the Chloe Cole and many others who ran the same rhetoric of that. You have the ones that are trying to shield kids from their parents and doctors and no notification about this. If Javier wants to be identified as Juanita in the school and they won't tell you, they don't even tell the parents. This tutti frutti crap has got to go. And of course, if they got to, This is what should be, this is what school board should be putting in front. Okay. You want separate facility. You want boys, you want girls, bathrooms, locker rooms, sports, and you want what? Non-binary, trans, alphabet soup. Okay, this is what's going to cost. This is the bottom line. What, and this is what we're going, this is how many teachers we're going to fire. This is how many guys, janitors cleaning the toilets we're going to fire. All those little goodies, you know what? All the school lunches, we're cutting them back 20% because we got to build all these new facilities because we're going to accommodate. That's how it should be laid out. This is what you want. It's about time, especially men, start growing some balls. Quit driving your idiotic electric cars and your little ponytails and your light and the loafer shoes. Say, you know what? We're not putting up with this BS anymore. Bullying, okay, you know, there's a good way. There's a real effective way to stop bullying. And it ain't a safe zone. It ain't we're going to talk about it. And oh, we're gonna sit down and have an ice cream cone. It would be great if the world worked like that, but it isn't. That's the reality of the frickin' situation. They're bad people. They're going to do bad things. People are going to take advantage for their own personal gain on practically any situations. That is human nature. So let's cut to the chase, cut the crap, and deal with the reality, just like this. Just deal with the reality of this volleyball thing. Perfect thing, because it's not a contact sport, but it does have a projectile coming across the net as in the volleyball. And like I said, it could kill a boy or a man. Just got to take more force because we're physically stronger. As a retarded, half the population. More muscle, we can take more punishment. That's why we don't have boys or men playing against the girls, because it is dangerous. So, again, line up the boys team. When AB Hernandez or Hoover Valley or whoever shows up with boys on the girls team, see all these 5'10", 6'2", 180-pounders. They all identify as girls today. They're representing the Poly High girls volleyball team. AB, line her up. AB's moms, I hope you want to cheer for your son who's playing on the girls' team, playing in a girls' sport. We'll see how this works out for him. CIF, which is the main alphabet soup for the California Sports Interscholastic Sports Federation, whatever it is, for high school sports, junior high and high school, K through 12. Love this one. CIF can't identify females. Title X, truth. The emperor has a Y. In the XY chromosome versus XX. In the victory column, this is from Jennifer Say, as of September 15th, USA Cycling requires cyclists to actually be female to compete in the women's cycling division. Of course, as she said, this is a huge win. The governing body has allowed more men on the podium than any other sport governing body, and they're reversing courses. USA men's cycling takes collegiate, once you become 18 or whatever, or in the collegiate side. That needs to happen in our high school, junior high, grade schools also. Want to walk her back a little bit. Donald J. was meeting with the president of Poland. We had the graphic up. We did it on the intro, but here it is. 2018, Newsom's running for governor. If the next governor, he was lieutenant governor, if the next governor of California doesn't improve housing affordability and homeless situation, that governor will be a failure. 2015 or 2025 today, homeless vagrancy has risen 50% and housing has never been more expensive. By Gavin Newsom's word, he's an utter and complete failure. Now, all you ladies that go gaga over him, you're going gaga over a man who is a complete and utter failure. I don't care how good looking you think he is. He's a piece of S. So part of this goes, I want to play more of the complete clip than we did on the intro. This is Trump, and he's asked about the Chicago and the crime situation in Washington, D.C. We go.
We could do it with Los Angeles. So we're making a determination now. Do we go to Chicago or do we go to a place like New Orleans where we have a great governor, Jeff Landry, who wants us to come in and straighten out a very nice section of this country that's become quite tough, quite bad. So we're going to be going to maybe Louisiana, and you have New Orleans, which has a crime problem. We'll straighten that out in about 2 weeks. It'll take us 2 weeks, easier than DC. But we could straighten out Chicago. All they have to do is ask us to go into Chicago if we don't have the support of some of these politicians. But I'll tell you who is supporting us, the people of Chicago. And I sort of want them to let it be known they have incompetent people. A guy like Gavin Newsom, he's the governor of a state that if we didn't go into Los Angeles with our soldiers, with our National Guard, you wouldn't even be having the Olympics there. They were going to take it. And remember this, your top law enforcement officer in Los Angeles said, there's no way we could have done this without President Trump coming in with the troops.
There it is. He's a complete failure. By his own words, by his own actions, Trump has put it on the line and said it, this is another one, besides vagrancy, the price of this, and gas at $5 going to $8 a gallon, and the whole rigmarole, no electricity to run your electric car. Highest electricity prices, because when you plug that in, and it don't do anything. You'll lose some weight pushing that electric car down the street. But again, Newsom, by his own admission, is an utter and complete failure.
Build the houses. It's going to be years before they are allowed to build the house. And Karen Bass is grossly incompetent. And Newsom, this is a very incompetent guy. I watched him with the hands. I'm saying, what's going on with the hands? There's something wrong with him. You watch him. There's something wrong with this guy. But more importantly, he didn't allow the water to come from the Pacific Northwest. You know, they have tremendous amounts of water in California. People don't know. They send the water out to the Pacific Ocean. So I demanded it be open. If that were open during the fire, before the fire, you wouldn't have had the fire because all the sprinklers would have worked in the houses. They had no water. They had no water in the fire hydrants. You wouldn't have had the fires. It would have been put out after one house, two houses. But he stopped the water from coming in. And I had to send in the military to have that water opened after the fires. And now they have water, but he should have more because they've restricted, they still restricted. There's something wrong with these people. There's something really wrong.
Donald J. 1000% correct. This hat, so we're gonna have to gotta get a hat. Trump was right about everything. The water, the fires, the whole thing. You want to live in a state or a country, you want to let Gavin Newsom, ladies president, because, oh, you just get the hots for him. You bag on us, the retarded half of the population, think we only think with, you know what, the little head. It's amazing. You want to raise your kids as mental cripples? Look at the stats we did. That's what you're doing. Helicopter parents, the whole frickin' rigmarole. As Rush said, young skullfuls of mush. We, the adults, were supposed to turn them into productive, happy adults. We're turning into worse skulls full of mush as they grow into adulthood. And if I got to explain how that is going to ruin your day in the future, we're in deeper bandini than even I'm anticipating of that stuff. Bottom line, we all know what to do. We all know right and wrong. We all know what should be done. Let's just do it. Throw caution to the wind. Not going to let people intimidate us. Not going to let them talk you into a clot shot or anything else. Hit some of the local stories. Only got a few. Coffee with a Cop, September 9th. It's coming to San Bernardino. So mark that on the old calendar. That'll be next week. Man killed in off-road rollover crash south of Hemet on Paris Matters. Trunk or Treat and Car Show, October 25th. Rancho CCHP is letting you know that is coming. Harupa Valley Insider, their September edition is now available, so you can get all the propaganda from the city of Marina Valley. I mean, city of Harupa Valley. Too many valleys. The whole Baby Haro case and the update on that was in SB Sun done a good, that of all the misinformation, there were some that were on the social media net that were doing, but most of it was misinformation on that. And as the DA sheriffs said, holy, you're not doing any good by putting that in. Devonshire Myers was closed down as fire personnel were having that over there in the Hemet area. Ken Calvert, our representative from Congress out here, same thing, saying, hey, knock off this crap with the boys and girls sports and all that. Paris Appreciation Day at the Railway Museums, upcoming September 20th, so mark your calendars if you're interested in that. Murrieta cops are getting a new canine Fender. A 4-year-old German Shepherd's coming to their police force, Riverside Police Department. You can get today. Join us Wednesday at Heroes Restaurant and Brewery for Tip a Cop. SoCal man up there in Phelan fired on burglars in his home. We'll definitely follow that case. Our Mimi of the day on iNewsWire. Don't forget those who stayed in your life when you needed someone to be there. So that'll do it for today. Hit the outro music and we'll be gone. That'll do it for today. But as we usually say at this time, it's mandatory you're back here in 23 hours wide. You hear the best darn show in the whole wide world. Till then, see ya.
The proceeding was a paid.
So where in the hell did you find the old outro? I don't even. We were doing the "We're Gone" one with Lou when you came in. That was the one that we had when he was first on. Where the hell did you pick that up at?
I have no idea. I assumed that it was the one that we always use, but apparently not.
No, that was the original. When I first in 16, when I started with Lou, that was his first one, and then he changed to Montgomery January We're Gone. And they go, where the hell did he find that? But anyway, I guess Sean recut it. I was gonna try. We tried with Kelly running it through you.
Yeah.
But again, maybe it's this. But like if I say something, if you go back and look at that, there's like a 2-second delay after I stop her that and before she comes on. So
Gotcha.
I don't know if it's in my system, your system, or it's going, between all the, the Zoom and all that. But for some reason, it hits when we run it through that way. So I was going to test it with Susan today so you could see it, but obviously she wasn't able to come in. So maybe we'll try it or talk to Sean or something, see maybe, see if we can figure out why or how why that delay is coming in when we run a guest through your system.
Yep. There's another way for her to join the Zoom call. If she calls, she can actually, on the cell phone, directly go into Zoom.
Okay.
So let me find out how to do that, and
yeah, that sounds like a better system.
Because this way you don't have to call her, and she just has to call the number that's associated with it,
like you guys do, and she can just roll into the Zoom meeting. Is what you're saying? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. That would probably be even better than anything, even going through the phone thing.
All right, no problem. I will look into it, and I'll let you know.
You got it.
All right, talk to you later.
Thanks.
Bye.